Wagwan people, welcome back to 6 Foot Weights, your favorite hour, your favorite cheese boys. Well, it's one of the cheese boys here. We have a super sub that I'll introduce to the audience. A familiar voice. I was going to say a familiar face, but a familiar voice for a lot of you. So you know the direction in which this episode is going to head in just a bit, but just need to excuse the absence of my normal partner, Mr. Moyo. He's currently moving, so you know these things. You make money, you move to bigger and better houses. The man has moved to Camps Bay, one of those cabins that overlook the ocean. So, bright sinners. But anyway, we don't have a lot of time today. We're really here for a good time, definitely not a long time. So let me just go ahead and introduce our guest, our cheese boy of the week, Mr. Tinto Wagwan.
Yo, what's up, my brother? Cheese boy of the week. Yeah, I like the sound of that. Especially after, I've been very well, and I'm saying I like the sound of that because of the latest episode I was listening to just before this recording. And you were talking about how AI was making use of cheese boys in the language, and I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, this cheese boy thing has really landed now. Even AI is like, yeah, we can do a tune about this thing, fam.
Listen,
well done, boys. Yeah,
Suno is coming through for the boys. It's making us look and sound a whole lot better than we really are. But shout out to the tech. We'll definitely take it. But we've got a couple of things that I want us to get into for this episode. I know, like I said, I know you have things to do. You got, place to be as the popular man that you are. But for anyone who does not know, this is the host of one of Zim's most popping podcasts, The Feeling Station. It's a heck of a podcast, if I can say so myself.
It does get a bit hectic.
Listen. It can, but like what have you? So obviously you've kept pushing, you've kept it growing. What would you say has been the biggest growth for the podcast? Let's say in the past year, what have you done? Like in terms of keeping it fresh, keeping it popping, because you've been doing it for a minute.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a minute. I'm doing it we celebrated 4 years in January.
Nice.
We're approaching 1 million downloads and streams. I checked this morning, we're on 910,000. With the average episode reaching just over 9,000 listens per episode. That's how the numbers are stacked up. The leading episode is episode 151. That's got 11,000 plays. So I think what's kept it fresh is just how real the conversations are.
Yeah.
And maybe one of them got too real because I ended up being called Judge Judy on episode 169. Yay.
Really?
So I think that level of reality potentially will escalate the podcast just to take it up a notch. But to answer your question, one, it's trying to churn out as much as you can. I used to do them weekly, but then looking after little man and the family, etc., kind of makes that a little difficult. So it has slowed down, but I'm trying to pick it back up. But I've also added what are called midweek drops, where we sometimes talk about what an episode was about in very light discussion, and it's not what the individual was about, but more some of the themes that came out of it. That's what's keeping it fresh. And I guess it's evergreen content in that whilst everybody does have a breakup, and it could be the similar thing to say you should all watch out for red flags. Some red flags are more white than they're red. So I think it helps people measure just how messed up their relationship was, because everybody, when they get into a breakup, feel that their relationship breakup was the worst.
Yeah.
Because you're basing it on a personal experience. So when you get to hear what others have gone through, you can easily come out saying, yo, I got out lucky. So that's, I guess that's part of what's added to the success. And, congrats to you guys too. You're 158 episodes strong. Well done, man. That's not a small achievement. That is massive.
Well done, fellas. It shocks me every so often when I look at like the episode number. So after we record, and then we send it off to our producer, like I just label episode number, and I'm like, 100. I'm like, yo, this thing is actually, it's a lot. Like it doesn't feel, obviously, if you like, the content that you're putting out and stuff like that, it doesn't feel tiring. But at the same time, you're like, yo, respect, like we've pushed quite a bit. But yeah, no, man, I'm happy to have you. Happy the podcast is successful. And obviously when you touch 1 million, it's going to be amazing. We're going to celebrate that big time.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
A bottle of shampoo.
Oh yeah.
That's not a small achievement, that one.
Thanks, bro. Thank you so much.
But yeah, man, let's jump into some of the topics that we have for today. Let's see if we can. Yeah, hopefully you and I can do better on time than me and Senna. Me and Senna will be like, right before we turn on the bikes, 1 hour, Chief, 1 hour, and then 1 hour turns into 1.5 and 2 hours. Like it's very easy to get carried away. But well, I guess we'll start on the tech-ish side. It was a funny moment. This was like maybe 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, just about 10 days. My mom. Actually, I get an email from Netflix. Right. Let me just quickly look in my inbox and see what the email said. It was a very peculiar email because Netflix has never sent me that email. Yeah, so it sends me an email and it says your temporary access code. That's the subject line, right? And I was just like, what the hell? So then it says hi and then the name of my mom's profile on Netflix, right? So it says that we've received a request for a temporary access code from the device below. If this was you or someone who lives with you, you can grant temporary access to watch. The code is for travel and temporary access outside of your household, outside of your Netflix household. Please do not send this code to anyone else, right? So I get this email and I'm just like, what the hell? Like I had no idea what was going on. Then I get a text from my mom like 2 minutes later, right? And she's like, so you've kicked me off your Netflix. And I'm like, no, I didn't kick you. I didn't kick you off my Netflix, fam. What are you talking about? And she's like, no, it's talking about, hey, I need a code, la, la, la. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like, I just got an email. Firstly, here's the code. Secondly, I did not kick you off the Netflix, but this is part of, Senna and I discussed this maybe sometime last year. Netflix was going to employ a strategy to crack down on passwords. And this was one of the ideas that were out there. But initially it was very, very poorly taken on by the public. So I didn't think they would do it. But lo and behold, it's not happening. So now every time my mom wants to watch Netflix, she has to get a code from me and it lasts 2 weeks. So every single time she wants to use it, if it's outside that 2 week scope, then she sends a code. Netflix will ping me and then I have to send her the code. Of which they're just trying to frustrate users like my mom to be like, screw it, let me just get my own Netflix.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's the kind of the business model now, because obviously they've kind of plateaued in terms of new users, and like with your stock price, with Wall Street wants to see growth, right? Yeah. That's consistent growth. That's what, raises your stock price. And Netflix has kind of floundered the last couple of years with regards to creating that growth. So this is just a strategy. But what do you think in terms of this type of strategy to boost? Do you think it's going to help? It's going to work in terms of forcing people to be like, I'm tired of asking for codes? Or do you think, being the dackies that we are, we're like, it doesn't matter. We'll ask if we have to ask for 50 codes a year. We'll get 50 codes a year. We're not subscribing to another Netflix.
Hey, listen, the way that I see that, right, the darkies that we are not going to be paying unnecessary money because let's face it, right? Back home, the culture of subscription is non-existent.
Yeah.
The only thing that you subscribe to, in quotes, are utilities that you need to have provided for you, and if you're lucky, you get them. So you pay monthly for your water, you pay monthly for your electricity.
Yeah.
Right? That's a subscription, in quotes, for a service that's meant to be provided. Outside of that, I don't know of anybody who pays a monthly fee for a service plan. Let's say you've bought a car from Volvo or Jaguar or Renault in Zim.
Yeah.
I don't know them to say they will offer you a 12-month service plan if you pay an extra $30 a month, and your car can go in for service at any time and you don't get charged extra. Right? My sister actually works in the healthcare insurance. And
Really?
she says, yeah, she does. And she says people do not pay for medical aid cover. unless it is absolutely necessary or they can see that somebody's unwell. Then they jump onto it and then they hope that there's a payout. But they don't read the fine line to say that maybe you need to have had the plan for at least 3 to 6 months or something.
And this is him specifically.
Yeah, this is him specifically. And my brother's a dentist. And he says, Tinto, people do not come and get their teeth fixed unless it's an absolute emergency. So they don't pay medical aid to cover dental stuff. So the subscription culture, I don't believe, comes naturally to us.
That is hilarious.
And because of that, Netflix coming to me and saying, "Oi, bro, you're down here in Southern Africa and you must start paying your own things." What are you talking about? Even out being here in the West myself, I'm in the UK, and I don't know if you've noticed the same where you are. YouTube ads used to be 3 to 5 seconds, then you can skip.
Yeah.
Have you seen how long they are now?
No, I mean, for me personally, no, because I buckled. I'm sorry, guys. I pay for YouTube.
Hey, this guy.
I buckled. No, listen, I use YouTube so much.
You've been westernized, my chief.
Listen, this is the one subscription that I'm not mad at. Because like you said, it was getting too much, man. There's the ads in the beginning, and then there's ads in the middle, and it's like, no, fam. Like,
right? Okay, ad in the beginning, ad in the middle, ad towards the end is not too bad if it's 5 seconds.
Yeah.
These things are now averaging 30 seconds per go. So you'll have one episode, you'll have one advert, which is 15 seconds, another, which is another 15 seconds. And you've got 30 seconds worth of adverts before you can continue. And they always come in when the story is about to get hot.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen others that are like a minute long or something like that. Like
exactly.
on other people's,
and you have to chill through that. So if we're saying that Netflix thinks they're going to be successful, with me, my opinion is they're not. Because you got people like myself who have vowed, I will never pay an extra $1 just for me not to watch an ad. As annoying as it is, I'm kind of getting used to it now. It's been happening for at least the last 3 months. And everyone whinges. So this whole thing of get an access code, bro, we got the patience. Well, speaking for myself, I've got the patience. I'll happily wait for you to give me the code whenever you're available. If you're not available, I'll go find something else to do in the meantime.
That's so funny. So are you a landlord or are you a Netflix tenant?
I'm a tenant. I'm a tenant.
Man.
And that's why I'm saying, I'm okay saying, "Oh, my G, listen, I need you to hook me up with the code." And whenever they hook me up, whenever they're available, fine. That's when I go in.
Yeah. No. I hear that.
But for now, there really is no incentive for me to try and now start saying to myself, I need to get the subscription. I don't even know how much a Netflix subscription is per month. How much is it now?
It's I think mine is like $8 a month, something like that. $8 somewhere there is what I pay generally per month. And I think the thing is with Netflix, right? Their content is okay, right? So you have the odd hit, one that we will speak about in a bit, but like generally speaking with Netflix, I'm literally on Netflix unless there's a show that I've seen in the past that's like, oh, here's a new season. It's not that great. Like my Netflix is almost entirely, I'd say 80% of what I watch on Netflix is animated series and anime. The rest is not that great in terms of what they have to offer. Is really not that great. So like I honestly am paying for Netflix for the sake of my family. It's really right. Like, that's the only reason I'm paying for Netflix is because my parents are there. Obviously, my wife uses it, and I think one of my brothers uses my Netflix as well. But like, that's really why I'm paying for Netflix. But if it were left to me, more than likely, if I had to start cutting subscription services, Netflix would probably be the first to go, because at least with like our internet plans here or phone plans, they give you Disney Plus for a year for free, or you'll get another app called OSN or Amazon Prime, give you that for a year for free, right?
Oh, right, gotcha. Yeah.
Plan. So some of these things, like you can find ways, you can find cut corners and shit like that where it'll be free. But what my brother and I started doing, because these subscriptions can add up, right? And we're back to cable TV. So my brother and I, like he pays for, I use his Amazon Prime, and then he uses our Disney Plus. So he's got our password for Disney Plus. I get his password for Amazon Prime, and then at least it's like, okay, cool. I'm not paying for one. He's not paying for the other. So I think that's what most people are gonna start doing, because it doesn't make sense. Why should I pay for 10, 15 subscription models, and I'm back to paying $100 a month for entertainment, right? The whole thing of why Netflix got big, it was like, oh, I only need to pay $7, and I have all this content for $7 per month. But obviously, all the other big studios got hip to it and like, Netflix can't be making all this bread. Then Disney Plus existed, and then Amazon Prime, and then now Apple TV. Like, there's all these, and worse if you're America, God forbid, there's Paramount Plus, there's Hulu, there's, like the list in the States goes deep. There's Peacock, there's YouTube TV, there's I think there's PlayStation. What was the PlayStation one called? It was like PlayStation Plus or something like that. Fubo TV. There's so many. It's such a saturated market now.
Wow.
So yeah, we're basically going back to paying $100 a month for entertainment.
Which is what Netflix and them were trying to run away from, isn't it? I've just looked at the standard plan now in the UK. It's £10.99.
Jeez.
And then you can add extra member slots, and these can be for an additional £4.99. That's the standard without adverts, or you can have a standard with adverts. I didn't even know you can have Netflix with adverts.
Oh, yours now has the ad tier as well.
Yeah, man, and that's £4.99 a month.
Sure.
And then premium is £17.99 per month, and you can add extra member slots at £4.99. So that's just over £21.99, £22 a month.
Now these guys are really scrounging for those sheets, man.
Nah, homie, that I can wait for someone to give me a code. I can sit down and be like, whenever you're ready, bro. Even if I get it tomorrow, I'll just go to YouTube and I watch my 1-minute videos, adverts, and continue watching something until the code comes through. And besides, the content, I think, just as you rightfully described on Netflix, is not entirely intriguing. I've just finished watching Three Body Problem, which took me about 2.5 months to 3 months to watch, because I can't focus on more than one episode at a time. And it was intriguing until it got to the end. I was like, oh, okay. It was a bit of an anticlimax, and now I know that the season 2 is going to take a whole year to produce.
Sure.
So all of these are not incentives for me to actually decide to become a Netflix landlord. I'll happily be a tenant for a minute.
No, trust me, the landlord thing is, it's just, you're doing it. And again, most Netflix landlords listen to this 100%. I think we're all on the same page. We're not. It's not even for us anymore, bro. We're just doing this for our tenants. This is just us being good people for our tenants at this point. But speaking of Netflix, they have a new hit show. Every so often they'll have a hit show. I, by all means necessary, wanted to avoid it, but I've just heard and read so much random stuff where I'm just like, you know what? Let me just check it out because this actually sounds crazy. So typical story of how, as a man, you get into some of these things. I'm chilling. We're in the lounge. My wife is watching a show, right? And she's just, when someone is so focused, and you can tell this person is not here, bro. Like, the body is here, but the mind is like
it is elsewhere.
The TV. It's with the TV, like super 100% focused, and she's reacting to things that are being said. All this, and I'm like, bro, what is this thing? And then I'm just probably watching like sports analysis or whatever on my iPad, just chilling, right? But also you overhear some of these things that are happening or whatever, and I'm hearing bits and bobs, and I'm like, nah, bro, this kind of sounds a bit interesting. And I tried my best, and she looked at me. I'm like, what are you watching? She explains. I'm like, this low-key sounds interesting. But then I was stubborn, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to watch it.
You see, I don't know why we're like that, bro, before you veer off that too much. Because I've been in the exact same situation with Love Island. I don't know if you watched Love Island just capitulate.
You see, that's another one I'm protesting as well. I'm protesting Love Island.
Right. So Love Island, I was protesting for the longest time. But then where I used to live, the lounge and my study were literally one and the same. They were in the same room. So on this particular day, I'm trying to do some work. And I keep hearing this conversation. I'm like, hey, this conversation is a bit dope. But I said, no, I'll never watch this stuff. This is child's play, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't I the one who was now telling her that, oi, this guy is this one is that? I even became more invested that the next year I formed a WhatsApp group for Love Island.
Oh my goodness.
And my language
man.
sounds too similar to how you're describing what you were saying. That it sounds interesting, but you don't want to be too involved, right? Because you got to be a bit more macho to say, nah, I don't do stuff like this.
Indota must not. Like,
No,
that's
Indota must
literally
not
what
do
I'm
that.
That's what I'm telling myself, bro. Because I was there like, but again, like the tea was hot though, and I was like,
Yeah.
you know, okay, fine. So I ignored it, and then now it's just so, because my wife she goes on the hashtag, she starts retweeting different things, interacting with different people. I'm like, yo, okay, but this thing is actually dope. Then I was like, okay, fine. What is this show actually? Apparently, it's called Ultimatum South Africa, right?
Oh,
it's a franchise. It's a franchise. Apparently, there's a
Yeah.
US version of it, like 2 seasons, and then they've done an essay version of it now. So I still hadn't seen it, and then there was a reunion episode that, you know, now it's like, right, you guys have gone, you've done the things, and then I think it was like a year later they came back to talk about what happened, right? So I'm hearing again bits and pieces of the conversation. I'm like, yo, bruh, like this actually sounds dope. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just watch. Right now, full disclosure, I've only seen 2 minutes of it. It looks interesting. I've seen, you know, the parts of it that trended, right? They're not once, not twice, not thrice. Like I've seen that.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. But so the basic concept is what I wanted to chat about. Basic concept of it is these couples come in, and you've been together for a while, is my assumption, right? But you're not married, right? So girlfriend, boyfriend, been together for a minute, but for some reason, someone hasn't proposed, or the man hasn't proposed. So you come to this show, and then for 3 weeks, you're going to be in a relationship with another person, right?
For 3 weeks.
So for 3 weeks. So
Right.
basically, yeah. So let's say it's 4 couples that will come onto the show. You and your person, and then 3 other couples. Then for 3 weeks, like, so initially you guys do the switch. So Tinto, you go with girl X, and your lady goes with guy X, right?
Yeah.
And then you basically pretend that you're married to this new girl for 3 weeks. Everything is on the table. Like
what do you mean? What do you mean everything? Everything like what?
I mean, everything is in everything, bro.
Even is also on the table.
Yeah, man. Like, listen, if you're trying to do the dance with no pants, like, it's on the table. It's on the
You
table.
lie.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, I was hearing these things, and I was like, yo. Like, I was like, no, man, because it's conceptually, this is mad. So anyway, after the 3 weeks, you go back to your actual partner. And then I think maybe for another 3 weeks, and then like you make a decision on whether or not you are marrying this person, which, you know, go back to the title, ultimatum, right? So that's the basic concept from what I understand so far. From a concept point of view, does that make sense to you?
I think it does make sense.
Are you serious?
Because I think so. Because some people just need that push, eh? It's not everyone who is very driven and focused, and they know exactly what they want. Some people are quite happy just going with the flow.
Yeah.
You know, happy go lucky. This thing is working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're pretty much not trying to boil the ocean. You know, if I'm to use an analogy. And it works for them, but for the other person who has a different value, a different view, and they want more out of something, it's frustrating. and I get it. I've been given an ultimatum before once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I have. You know, this particular person was very keen on getting married. We'd only been together, I think it was about 24 months or so. And first, I thought it was I thought it was a joke, until I saw the tone of conversation changing, the mood changing, atmosphere around where we were changing. And she's like, hey, listen, I've come to a point where if today you can't tell me where you're at and what you want out of this thing, I'm out, because I've got more that I aspire towards that you don't seem ready for. And I really wasn't ready, because I was just going with the flow. So I think the concept of an ultimatum, it's a bit of a funny one now. And now that I think about it, maybe it's not that great.
But how
do you know why?
No, but how did you feel when you were given the ultimatum?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. But also, I'd not been clear what I wanted. So what did I expect? It was a consequence of being vague and unclear. So in a way, it felt like, okay, I deserve to be given an ultimatum, but I didn't like it. And it's only now that I'm clearer and more certain that, well, if I'm to get into something, the first question I need to ask myself is, why am I getting into it? If I'm going in for vibes, I should be able to say, oh, I'm coming in for vibes.
Yeah.
And then at that point, if we're both adult enough, if she doesn't want vibes, it doesn't go anywhere. Then there's no ultimatum.
Yeah.
But if she chooses to be vague and she's like, yeah, okay, cool, let me come to for vibes, when it wasn't vibes, it will manifest itself through an ultimatum. So
do you feel like you didn't like the ultimatum because deep down you knew that this ain't the one? You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You nailed it on the head. There's no other way of trying to sugarcoat it and run away from it. At the back of my mind, I knew, okay, she's not the one. She's giving me the ultimatum. She's asking me for a response that I've not prepared myself mentally to deliver. So she challenged me mentally on that.
Yeah.
And my brain didn't like it.
Nah, it's a madness, bro. Like, but like now, if you're going back to the show, like, I don't see. I see the entertainment value, and I told this to my wife as well, because she was like, "Oh, do you think this makes sense?" I was like, "No." Like, practically, it makes no sense to run this thing this way. But if for entertainment value, for a Netflix show, oh yeah, 100%. Because, like, again, one of the things that I had spoiled for me on the show is that a particular couple that switched, right? So now, it's with this new person that you've just met now on this show. They started banging and like banging like hard, right? Consistently.
On the show.
Hey,
which edition is it? The South Africa one?
Yeah, it's South Africa. The one on Netflix now, the essay item.
I'm going to ask my Netflix landlord to make a plan, bro.
Get that code,
tonight I'm going to start watching that thing.
request the code now, so that at least by the time that you were dead here, you're good to go. But that's one of the things that was huge. So like now, and that's my thing. It's like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? Because obviously, if you're going to, I'm not one of those guys that is like, oh, I'm the best nigga on earth, and but there's no one better than me, and whatever. I just think I'm the best person for my person, right? That's the way that I look at it. But like, why would you tempt fate? We all have our weaknesses. We all have points where it's like, your partner could be like, oh, I really wish he was more of this of a person. Like, there's always one thing, right? It's not a perfect fit for every single little thing. And it's like, now you've paired them up with a person that, like, so my wife doesn't really care for football like that, right? Not really a big deal. But then now I go on the show, I get paired with this other hand, and all she wants to talk is football. And, we're playing PlayStation or something like that, or like, that, whatever. Like, it's something that, like, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, that's dope, right? So now it's like, why am I creating a relationship with this person where there is a synergy? And then it's like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I feel like you're creating more confusion. Unless it only works if same concept, but the 3 weeks you spend is with a problematic person that makes you miss your person. Then, okay, cool. You go back and I know, baby, I missed you. I'm so sorry. Here's your ring. Mwah. Then it's like, you know what I mean? But like, you just giving it a chance where it's like, if they hit it off, then they hit it off. And then what? You know what I mean? Like, at least you had a relationship before the show. At least there was some. Now the thing is a shambles. Your man wants somebody else. You know what I mean? Your babe is now, she's in love with another guy. You're there with your mkaba. And then some tall 6-foot chocolate guy with abs is with your babe, holding you all types of ways. Are you mad? There's no way, fam.
I didn't understand it was that deep.
Nah, it's deep, fam.
Like in terms of what they actually get to exchange and do on that show, I really need to go in and find out what it's like after this.
But they say it's no holds barred. Like you are married. Like literally, that's the thing. That for those 3 weeks, you guys are a married couple, and whatever happens is married couple shit. It's completely up to you in terms of how you guys want to run that shit.
You know, I think by the time you've had your conversation with your person to say, let's go on to this show, it's already finished for you guys.
Yeah, facts.
Because it's such a real risk to take. Right? For instance, you know, bro, I'd be hard pressed to think that you would ever put yourself in the line of fire knowing that you potentially will not come back alive. Right? So it's like hearing a statistic, you know, that let's say everybody who goes into a war situation, let's just say Zim was fighting with Botswana, or South Africa was fighting with Namibia, and you are a podcaster who's got nothing to do with it. Then they say to you, look, we'll pay you $1 million to go fight on behalf of South Africa with Namibia, but statistically we need to tell you that there's a 90% chance that if you go in, you're going to die and you won't come back. You'd be foolish to go in.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, there's a 10% chance you're going to come out with $1 million.
Yeah.
But for me, the 90% is enough a deterrent not to indulge. If on this show, you know that there is a 60-70% chance that it might not work out because somebody might find somebody they have more fun with than you, why would you dare going?
It makes no sense, bro.
It's like you're going to go seal your fate. So by the time I think both of you say yes, I think you both don't want anymore.
Yeah. No, one of them, entertainment.
Yeah, you know, one of them is just the pressure to say, okay, stop wasting my time.
Yeah.
And then the other one, everybody needs pressure, Sha, in life. Everybody, this cost of living crisis right now that we're living in is putting a lot of people under pressure to revisit their career choices. and the benefit for them is they earn more income and they are better for it.
Yeah.
Right? Diamonds are made from pressure that is put on carbon and degraded material for years, and then you get a diamond. Same with oysters, the way that they come out, and pearls. Blah blah blah. Pressure produces quality goods, I think. So this ultimate South Africa thing, to me, feels like the necessary pressure for either a relationship to glow or the person who actually wants more to leave and find what they actually really deserve.
Yeah, no, it's just a precursor, bro. It's just the precursor for exiting stage left in the relationship. That's the way that I see it. No one can convince me otherwise. But again, my opinion might change. Tune into next week's episode once I've actually watched the series. Let's see. Maybe my opinion changes. Maybe some relationships, you know, they were like, oh, baby, I missed you, and you know, you're the one for me. Maybe this was, like you said, the nudge that they needed.
Yeah.
But let's see. I'm an optimist.
Have you ever been given an ultimatum before?
Nah, not that I can think of. Not a significant one, at least. I haven't been given an ultimatum, at least not in a relationship sense.
Yeah.
But I think, my general belief is kind of similar to what you just said, right? The moment that an ultimatum needs to be given, a lot of the time is, unless there's a really good reason that makes sense, then it's just either consciously or subconsciously you're not feeling it. You know, that's just what it is, right? And you just have to recognize that fact sometimes, and that will save you a lot of pain and stress. But I think the key thing is communication. A lot of the things that a lot of couples and people in general go through is because communication is poor, and when communication is poor, then that's when some of these funny things happen. It's because you're not communicating, right? Communicate properly, and a lot of these problems are not problems. They're not, are they? In the grander scheme of things, absolutely not. Yeah. But anyway, Chief, we have to keep it pushing.
and just before you push it too far, right? I don't know if you've watched this show, Pop the Balloon or Find Love.
I haven't seen that.
I'm gonna send you a link after this one. Basically, you have a group of about maybe 10 women, right, who are holding balloons, and you, as Mr. Maps, You walk into this lion's den, and if there's something that they don't like about you, they pop a balloon.
I've seen.
Bro, this is again putting yourself in the lion's den the same way that this ultimatum show, I think, is. Because a good number of men and women have had all of the balloons popped either in the first 10 seconds or by the time it's reached about 4 or 5 minutes. And what that does for your self-confidence. Imagine, Mr. Maps, you walk in and every woman pops a balloon before you've even opened your mouth.
No, I'd be touched.
You'd be touched. So I don't know why people are doing this to themselves. Either
But
going
you know
on
what?
to the
I prefer this over the ultimatum one. That one is at least that one is like, yo, bro, you took 2 minutes, you're out of there. You're never going to see them again. It is what it is.
There's a guy who has consistently told you're too short. And they bring in about okay, let's say it's guys who are lining up, right? And there are women coming in one by one. I think there are about 6 women who came in. Imagine 6 women all saying the same thing. You're a short guy.
That's tough. That's tough.
So 6 times you're reminded, go, bro. God made you in a way that you can't do shit about it and you're screwed. I think psychologically that would mess with me so bad that I don't even know which one is worse. The ultimatum or just humbling yourself by being told the same thing consistently by some people. And I know there's a guy there who was very, very dark. Extremely dark. And the women were kind to their words. But when you look at the bottom line, they're all saying, bro, you're too damn dark. That's what it was. And what can a guy do? You can't go bleaching. Nobody talks about bleaching. Nobody talks about... You can't... There's some stuff you just can't do.
Navy blue.
He is typically one of them guys who's navy blue. So I don't know, man. I don't know. People just need to think twice, I think, when they're going on to some of these things. One, they can really mess up your esteem and your ego. And on the flip side of the ultimatum, it weeds out the bullshit quite quick. So we should catch up on this and see how we felt about it. But because you've definitely whet my appetite for it.
No, definitely. We'll follow up. So the other thing that I wanted to quickly get to is on Twitter, there's always a tweet that kind of just bangs, right? And then everybody kind of just jumps on that tweet, which is hilarious. So I find it funny when it's moments where guys share their opinions, and like we have an opinion where it's like everybody's kind of agreeing. And it's just funny, the jokes that come out of that, right? So this guy on Twitter goes and tweets. The tweet is, pretending you're open-minded, so she reveals all her whole tendencies, right? That's the tweet. And then in all the replies and all the quotes, like, it was too funny, man. It was too funny. So like, so people would add a meme or a video to it, and then so this guy puts a caption. This is like pretending you're mid-conversation, right? So the guy goes, a 5 train, ? That's like normal? Come on, give me something freaky. But meanwhile, in your mind, you're like, you're 5. And you're like, no. And it got me thinking, because I was like, yo, like we've all been in these situations in a relationship where, you know, to get to a point where you're like, no, you don't ask about body counts, you don't ask about whole stories. It's because you've been through some traumas of your own way. You've been told these stories, and you're like, oh my God, what is going on? And it's always going to sound worse in your mind, even though, because you were not there, right? So she might say, oh, she had a threesome, whatever it is. Your mind has just come up with the nastiest threesome. And that's what happened. Right, and because you weren't there, you don't know how it started. You don't even know, like, and now it's like, oh man, you're doing all this other judgy shit. So it's like, it was funny to me because all these dudes are sharing their experiences in one way or another of things that, you know, their partner would have said or what they did in the past, and you're just there because like I've been there before, bro. You're sitting there and you're just like. Like, you're just quiet, and because you can't say anything, right? You can't say anything out loud and just be like, hey,
no.
You just have to quietly, you know, go home and just be like, hey, no, this is
Gunzima.
No. I mean, bro, imagine being told, listen, you know, with the past guy that I was with, you know, we had an OnlyFans account, you know, and we was putting out content on a daily basis. Like, where do you even start? Where do you even start with that?
It's one of those things that I don't think I'd even say anything about.
No, you can't.
You can't. I've actually resolved in relationships. I think people shouldn't ask about body counts. I don't know if people need to be asking what happened with your ex. Yeah, it might be a fair one because it can give you a bit of background.
And I think the X one is fair because I need to know why were you evicted, or why did you terminate the lease early? Right. I need to understand.
But why does that matter? Because you've got how you've got your own portfolio, you've got your own slate.
Yeah, because I think you've got your own, like you said, you've got your own rap sheet, right? But like at the end of the day, I need to know from you, are you a criminal or are you a victim? Right? There's a difference, and both come with their own set of problems, right? I'm not trying to say either one is a great place to be, right? But you need to understand, because if you're dealing with a victim, then again, there's a lot of, you hope that person has gone through a healing process, but a lot of the time the person hasn't gone through a healing process, and like it would be nice to be aware, okay, this is going to be a bumpy ride, right? If you're dealing with a criminal, again, it would be nice to know that I need to stay vigilant, right? Stay ready so I never have to get ready. So that's why I would say, from a previous relationship point of view, that, or just in knowing the type of relationships that person has had and why they failed, I think that's good information to have. Bodies and what y'all were doing behind closed doors, nah, that's irrelevant, information.
So the way that I see this playing out is, as guys, you approach a woman because you've seen something or you felt something.
Yeah.
So you've got a reason that has drawn you to her in the first place. So you can choose to focus on that and make that grow. And and just have faith, that everything else is kosher. Because let's assume you then ask this woman, oh yeah, so why did you break up with your ex? And then they tell you it's because I was in love with the church pastor who was married. Yeah. Now she's telling you, I believe in God. God is my rock. I need to go to church every Sunday. What are the chances that every time she goes to church, if you don't go to church, she might be looking out for another church pastor to bang?
But I think
it predisposes you.
No, but you see, in Debele we say umuntu ngeke confirm, right? Like at the end of the day, sometimes, you know what I mean? Like if you belong to the streets, you belong to the streets, right? So it's like, at least I had an inkling, like to be like, oh, okay, right? So if it does happen, in the off chance it does, she is the word that I'm looking for, but I'm forgetting it. If she relapses, there we go, right? And goes for pasta number 2, then at least it's like, okay, Vele, I knew, yeah, this is your spillion, right? But then I think it hits way harder if you had no idea, and then now it comes out and it's like, yeah, actually, there's a track record for this, right? That's where I'm like, at least I wish I had that heads up, because then it's not to judge that person, but it just
how
gives
you judge,
insight. Bro. You don't judge. I mean,
there's no way you can't judge.
You shouldn't judge. Okay, let me put it that way. You shouldn't judge them first.
And I'm judging straight up. If I just hear ones like that, I'm already judging fast, and I'm like, nah, screw this, I'm out.
Really?
Yeah, man. So I stopped asking that question a long time ago. It's not meaningful information for me.
But then what happens then? What happens then if you find out later? And it's not on purpose. You don't ask the question, but you find out that she did get with a church pastor, and that's why she was out of her other relationship, and she bumped into you, and so a year down the line, you find out that information. What are you doing?
How many times have you heard the expression "the truth always comes out"?
A bunch of times.
It's because it's very real.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be in the business of playing Inspector Gadget the moment you choose to be in a relationship with someone. Have faith. I think if somebody is religious or spiritual in any shape, size, or form, you have to exercise a certain measure of faith, because I think that's what the superpowers require us to have. And one of the best ways in which you can exercise your faith is in a human being that you are connected with intimately. You have to.
But
I think that's the ultimate test.
You have to look at this like mergers and acquisitions, right? at the end of the day, what happens when businesses buy other businesses, the business that's being bought is you could almost compare it to a man or a woman that's really putting themselves out there to attract a partner, right? That's what the business that wants to be acquired is looking like on the market. So they'll do specific things to make themselves look really, really good as an option for a big conglomerate to buy. And a lot of the time, some of these businesses, they hide debt, right? So they could be in the red when it comes to debts and all these other things. So obviously, if you buy a business, you take on all their debts, right? So they hide the debts, they do these other things, and that's why you need externally audited financials, because if you are not aware of a problem and then you purchase this business, and then now you realize how Kantimia now owed into $6 million because Tabo struck a deal years ago and he's been trying to pay back this debt. That's information that you need to know, right? You can't go on what you just said. No, just have faith. Have faith that this business, that you're purchasing, the finances look as they're advertised, right? So in all levels of life, you have to do your due diligence. It's important. Otherwise, you'd be shocked.
For me, the due diligence question that helps with that process without having to say what happened to your ex is, in your previous relationship, what did you struggle with the most? And have you dealt with it? For me, that's the most important question for me. So if the person was dealing with sexual addiction, if the person was dealing with masturbation, if they were dealing with dishonesty, if they were dealing with difficulty in having just one person at a time, or they had a difficulty telling men, no, I got a guy, how did you deal with it? I mean, have you? The question is, one, to say, have you inwardly looked at yourself and found what the problem is? Because unless somebody can look inwardly, I don't think they can start healing or becoming better if they need to. So in your previous relationship,
100%.
What did you struggle with the most? If they say, oh, nothing, then in my head I'll be like, well, so why are you ready for another relationship? Why are you not with that person anymore? And for me, those are my due diligence signals to say, yeah. And then the most important question for me is, have you dealt with it? If they say no, then I can start asking myself, what are my deal breakers? If perhaps a deal breaker for me is somebody who doesn't feel like they've dealt with whatever deeply rooted issues they had, hey, I'm not Mr. Fix It. I should be able to then confidently say, this is not really my cup of tea. You're a great person, but you've got blood on your t-shirt. I'm not ready to have someone mine. And then you walk away with your clean white t-shirt and you go and look for the next best thing that you're going to ask, in your previous relationship, what did you struggle with the most?
You remind me of the days when I was in economics class in university. Yeah. And what used to vex me about all the questions, the exam questions, and even the teachings, right? Yeah. The first thing that's said, right, would be in a vacuum. In a perfect economy, in a vacuum, like, tell us the reality. You know what I mean? Like in a perfect competition market, fam, if it's not, I was annoyed because I was like, if I can't apply this practically in the world, I don't need to know how demand and supply, interact with each other in a perfect world. I want to know, how do demand and supply interact with each other, period, right?
They would always say ceteris paribus, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So it's one of those things that would annoy me, and it's just like, that's what I'm saying. Like you're talking about it from in an ideal world, these are the questions that you ask, but like sometimes, again, you deal with criminals, and criminals need to be dealt with differently. Is what I'm saying. there's a different criteria for criminals. That's all that I'm saying. Again, those who know, they know. That's all. We don't need to go deeper in terms of that. We can leave that there. But
maybe I know myself, and that's why I've come down this route, because I've been
absolutely.
Previous relationships. I've asked certain questions, and there've been a trigger. So I keep an eye out for it. So for instance, some ex of mine says, "Oh yeah, I'm not with him now because he found out that I was still talking to my ex." Okay, cool. Phone rings. I would now easily ask, oh, who was that? Especially if I clocked it was a guy. Oh, who was that? You were such and such and such a person. There was always a follow-on question. Oh, how do you know them? You check. Because in my head, I'm already thinking, okay, to what extent are you going to try and hide the fact that you want to go back to your old ways? So, yeah. So far, I think it has worked.
Okay.
Not asking, not knowing, because I hope and I pray that the person becomes comfortable enough to own up to some stuff. Whilst I'm in there and I've seen that there's some work, because the best apologies change behavior, right?
Yeah.
So if I see that they've owned up to the fact that maybe that they were very dishonest in general, but now they try and do their best to be honest about stuff, which I probably wouldn't be able to tell because if they were so good, I wouldn't know if it was the truth or a lie.
Yeah.
But if I'm not looking for lies, then I'm fine.
Nah. I hear where you're coming from. 100%. I hear where you're coming from.
You want to play like you. But yeah, go on, Chief.
Yeah, that is true.
Go on, my
100%.
guy. Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're gonna wrap it up with a Siyazama real quick. So we got an email. So I hadn't checked our inbox in a while. Apologies to the listeners that have been sending us emails. We're gonna go through them. I found one that was super interesting, and I was gonna do this with Senna next week, but there's part of the email that I figured, you know what, fuck it, let's do it today, which was really, really funny. So for anyone, again, for those who don't know, joining us for the first time, Siyazama is the part of the podcast where you can, if you have a point of order, you have something that you want to share with the 6 Foot Weights community, just whatever, you just want to share with us, send us an email or add us on Twitter or DM us on Twitter at 6 Foot Weights, whether it's Gmail or it's on Twitter. And yeah, we're happy to interact with people. And quick notice, the latest episode, for those on Spotify, for whatever reason, it's for copyright issues. Or you Kendrick supporters, a problem. But yeah, it got taken down, so we re-uploaded.
Oh, really?
Because I added Family Matters by Drake. So they were like, hey, copyright. So again, the Kendrick stands, you guys are ops. You guys are ops for real. But anyway.
Wow.
We'll go back to that. Regarding the email, this listener, I'll keep them anonymous. They wanted a shout out, but obviously you listen to the pod, so you know this is you. So I can't shout you out because of what you included in the body of the email, but shout out to you. This is me saying, I recognize you. The Cheese Boys recognize you. Dear Senna and Tao. Then she goes on to say that dear made it sounded so formal. Maybe I should just say hi. Anyways, I'm sending this email to let you guys know that you should consider getting degrees in psychology. Ngoba y'all are really going through my break. Y'all are really getting me through my breakup. Shout out. We appreciate that. Well, at least what I think is a breakup. So now you need to come back and let us know, did you break up with this person? Because this email came in, last week? Yeah, okay. This might be a Siyazama moment. Listen to the podcast is my therapy session. But on a serious note, I absolutely love the podcast, guys. Appreciate that. So I'm going to give a backstory of how I found the podcast. So Senna was dating this girl that I went to high school with initially. I was going to tell you the high school, but it would make it very easy for you. Just know that it's a private school in Bulawayo. That narrows it down. I don't remember. I don't remember how I found out, because I don't even talk to her anymore. I was probably doing my daily stalking, and then she puts in brackets. You know when you're stalking someone, and then you wind up on their father's uncle's page. I was like, that's hilarious. And then I found Senna. Then eventually that led me to the podcast, and here I am. I'm probably listening. I probably started listening to the podcast religiously last year when I was taking a break from music. So I listened to the podcast when I'm driving to work, which was at least 2 hours back and forth. Yo, that's crazy. So I started going through the episodes pretty quickly. Now I'm just rambling. Just know that I'm a big fan here in the UK. I told a friend about you, and she listens to the podcast, but now she listens to the Feeling Station more.
Hey, get in there! Come on, girl! Come on!
So this one
Did you know this is This is an ultimatum moment, girl. Girl, we're giving you an ultimatum to decide whether you want to continue listening to 6 Foot Weights or the Feeling Station.
Tinto, give us back our listeners, bro. Give us at least 500,000 of those episodes of those listeners.
That's funny.
Give us back our listeners. And she says she goes on to say, I'm also not one of those stingy ndebeles and I'm definitely going to be buying a couple of coffees, also keeping. And I also keep saying also. This is one of the last times, Oh yeah. She says, how you used to play throwback kwaito and house music at the beginning of the episode. Please bring that back. I absolutely loved it. P.S. Can I get a shout out? So yeah, this is your shout out, but I can't say your name obviously because I read your email. So shout out to you. We appreciate the feedback. Obviously, the throwback kwaito, the throwback house music is going to be on this particular episode just for you. So that will be your shout out for this week. Yes, I'm a huge house music fan. Love the old house, love the new house. Sena's a huge kwaito fan. Anyone who knows Sena is reggae and kwaito. That's pretty much all he listens to. And then he will randomly talk about, I listen to Lauryn Hill, which I was like, but yeah, shout out to the listener. We appreciate it. But the moral of the story is, Tinto, please give us our listeners.
Thanks, whoever you are. I'll give you a portion. I'll give you a portion.
No, but that's pretty much it, man. But otherwise, man, I appreciate you for coming through. Making
you're welcome.
Time. I know schedules are tight, but yeah, this is good. At least the listeners got something for this week.
No, you're welcome, bro. Always happy to help. And thanks for having me.
Awesome. And as you know, as the listeners, like the ting, subscribe to the ting, retweet the ting, and if you don't, we're inclined to believe you're a hater.
Oh yeah.
Later.
Catch you later.